Good evening, my Teaserking family. How is everybody? Back for round two. So I had a meeting this morning, so I cut my class short, hit the pool, get my prescription. If you were looking for mouthwash, it was much cheaper at Kroger's, plus they had the 50-ouncer that I couldn't get at Target. It's funny, I use Crest mouthwash. I haven't had a cavity in years. I take it twice, in the morning and at evening. And I just went to Target and Myers. I couldn't find, all they had was the 33-ouncer. So I'm at Kroger's getting my prescription, and they had the 50-ouncer, which is what I normally get. So I was really happy with that. Then I got that, went to the pool. And then I saw at the gym, I saw the wild craziness, Trump with tariffs and hitting China hard. And that's a big problem. That's a big mistake. But then I didn't understand this. The stock market went up. We're still in heavy depression. We still have a dollar that's worthless. Now we have trade problems. All the stuff we get from China, we're not going to get from China anymore, because why would China? It's like making income tax 100%. Why would I work if I went to work and had to pay the whole thing to tax? Why would I work? So what you have now, why is China going to send anything with 104 tax? Now, let's understand what we know as the Adam Smith Austrian model. To become a financial power, low taxes, look at number 2, free trade. Look at number 4, gold, and a good law. All right. Free trade is the most important thing to becoming a financial power. England became a financial power. What did they do? They adopted free trade. From 1821 to 1914, England was the number one power. They outlawed slavery. They adopted free trade, rule of law, gold standard, laissez-faire, and low taxes. But you know who doesn't like free trade? Our friend Keynes. Worried about unemployment, wages are rigid downward, monopolies, tariffs, and unions. Keynes, a protectionist. What are we doing here? We're following Keynes again and not the Austrians. So we're not going to be the number one power. Why do you want free trade? Because you can't be protectionist, meaning only goods made in America are what we're going to use. When other countries make things cheaper, China makes things cheaper because China has cheaper labor. So if it's cheaper, why do you want to not trade with them? They're not understanding the value of the trade. You can buy things cheaper, which is better for our economy. It gives us money to buy tennis shoes and to buy t-shirts. Real quickly, gold, 30.81, it bounced back nicely. Silver, 31.02, nice day for silver. Nice day for gold, up $100, and we're back. We almost hit 31. It looks like it was like 30.98, 99 at 4 o'clock. And as we get into this time, we are getting out of the U.S., and now we're getting into China, and look for 3,100 very soon. You're forcing China to buy more gold and silver. I've never seen anything so stupid in my life as these tariffs. I'm sorry. As an economist, granted, I know it's Austrian economy. I've never seen anything like it. This is by far the stupidest thing we could possibly do, is put 100% tariff on China. The one country that gives us all our stuff so we can live good and get it cheap. Trump's trying to pay off the $37 trillion debt with tariffs. The guy's out of his mind. And this retaliating tariff, what the fuck is that? So he delayed it, what, 90 days or 30 days? Not that he didn't tariff these countries already. It's the retaliatory, it's the others. Which, what he's doing with those tariffs, why would the stock market go up? You've still got tariffs. You're still fucked with China. This is not good for the economy. You still have massive inflation. Your dollar's basically monopoly money, and you want to invest in stocks. So it went from 37,000 we talked about this morning to 40,000. It went up $2,500. How much is made off in that? JP Morgan. How much is it? I mean, you got to be kidding me. You have to be an idiot to get back into the stock market as it's crashing. It's still going to crash. Tariffs are not. The inflation is what crashes the market. I keep getting these spam calls. Jesus Christ. So we're still spot on. The best thing to own is gold and silver, not to jump back into both. Bitcoin went back to like 82,000 and the Dow went back to 40,000 temporarily. Why? No reason. Not like the tariffs went away that he already put. The additional tariffs will delay. Okay, but who cares? That's not what we're looking at, these additional tariffs. Man, I'm getting all this junk shit. All this Ponzi scheme stuff. All right, so what I was doing in my notes is looking at tariffs, but that's all I needed to see. It's Keynesian. We're for free trade. The most important thing you could have in a country is free trade, because you can get goods and services from other countries for free, keep the cost down. It keeps their economy going, which keeps your economy. Remember, I buy from you, you buy from me. And if you're in a different country and I don't buy from you, that means you don't buy from me. So let's forget, China is customers of us too. So you're destroying their market. What do you think they're going to do? Let's see, we got 60,000 tons of gold. Let's start using that. And then what are you going to do, Trump? You cannot, there is no defense for gold. You don't have it. They got 60,000 tons. You can't win. There's nothing you can do. You can't fuck with gold. Why do you think China's got so much gold? Now, I was watching a video I'll share with you about China buying stuff. They're buying chips from Amsterdam, really high-tech chips. And the U.S. is not letting them sell to China. So there's a lot of problems. China's stock market crashed today, big time. They're all like, every company on their stock exchange lost. They're getting crushed. Hey, David. So you don't understand. If I bankrupt all my customers, I don't have customers, right? I want customers. I want them to do well. Then I got customers, right? I want Titus to win 18,000 and then he gives me a tip. I want that. I don't want the bankrupt Titus or Bobby or anybody. No, I want to make them money. Then they come back to me. That's what you want. That's free trade. When I give the class here, this is free trade. This is I'm helping explaining stuff, and that's it. So it's just insanity what we're seeing here. Trump's a protectionist, which is not good. It's Keynesian. So this is George Soros pulling the strings. Protectionism is bad. Oh, why don't you move your steel mills here? And then we can tax you instead of the tariffs. Well, you know how expensive it would cost, somebody's steel company to come here and bring the steel and set it up. It'd take years. You couldn't do it. You can't just move it here. It would take probably 5 years to set up a steel company here. Really, really ridiculous. I don't see, as an economist, I don't see any value in what he's doing at all. There is nothing that says you have balanced trade. So if I trade you this card, but I want gold for it, but it's worth $80,000. PSA 9. You give me $80,000, you get the card. Are we going to have balanced trade? Does that mean I need to spend $80,000 to buy a card from you? No, not at all. It means I have the inventory that you want. You pay for it. Thank you very much. Does not mean I have to spend a nickel with you, right? So let's say it's profits from Canada. So I don't have the Bobby Orr card out yet. So let's say I do this. Profits Canadian, Marc Messier. Limited to 250. So nice limited card. It's Marc Messier. Won a Stanley Cup. I go, Profit, I'll give it to you for $500. He says, okay. Gives me $500. Are we going to have balanced trade? Does that mean I have to buy a $500 something from him? No. He benefited because I had something that he wanted. Okay, so he benefits. A limited Marc Messier Flair Blue Ice card. That's a beautiful card. Maybe he needs to complete a set with it. So why do we need it balanced? I don't need to buy something from Profit. That's got nothing to do with it. He's able to get something relatively cheap that he wanted and was looking for, or maybe wasn't looking for it, but he likes the blue ice and it's 250 count. So he goes and says, oh, okay, I'll take it. It's slightly better than Bitcoin at 21 million, wouldn't you think? Profit, hello. So Trump suspends the tariffs for 90 days. Americans are all of a sudden on fire. No countries have balanced trade. It's ridiculous. Exactly. Profit gets it. He didn't suspend the tariffs for 90 days on all markets. Only the markets that didn't retaliate against us, but he's already hit them with tariffs, right? So he hit them with tariffs the other day. He had that big sign. He's saying, here's all they're tariffing us, so I'm tariffing you. Now, he was going to hit them with additional tariffs, but since they didn't, they get a 90-day reprieve. Not China. China, he hit it 125%. Basically eliminating trade. As I said, if you're working for a company and you got to pay 100% in taxes, you're probably not working anymore because your whole paycheck is taxes. So because Trump is listening to Keynes with tariffs, on the last one on the bottom, monopolies, tariffs, unions, Keynes. So we are following the Keynes playbook. Keynes never won a game in his life. Keynes was the worst economist ever. He's bankrupt more countries and he's never been right. It's the key is the free trade. I mean, this is the Bible right here. Right here, Adam Smith. Low taxes, free trade. And look how I start. It's the most important thing. Rule of law, gold, and good communication. The key to being the number one power. The Alabama or Georgia of college football. The key. And what are we doing? We're doing tariffs. And everybody's tariffing us, apparently. We don't care. We're the buyers. Right? So if I got tariffed, I'd have to pay 20% on this card. So I'd either raise the price to cover the tariff, or I would just keep it and eat the tariff. Sales tax, profit pays, tariff I pay, and I send it to them. But it doesn't or shouldn't be balanced. It doesn't mean I have to then spend $500 and buy something from profit. What the fuck are these people thinking? The benefit went to the buyer. To the victor go the spoils. Profit is the victor, and I'm the victor. Because it's free trade, I get the $500, although I would ask for it in American money or in silver. Profit gets the card he wants. It's beneficial to both of us. I got the money for the card. He gets the card. We both win. There's free trade. We're both fine with that. Why should either of us pay the government for our transactions? So when Alyssa said, what's laissez-faire? That's what laissez-faire is. Leave the government out of it. Nobody screws up more business than the government, right? What are you guys doing? Well, we want a tariff so we don't have to pay income tax. What? We shouldn't be paying income tax. Then I listened to Victor Davis Hanson about something. What was it? Oh, about the Great Depression. He didn't think it was smooth hardly tariff. He says that came in 1930 and the stock market had already crashed. He doesn't even know that the Depression wasn't because the stock market crashed. The Depression was because FDR was following Keynes in government spending and all that stuff and killing the economy. That was Keynes who did that. The Smooth Hardly Tariff Act made everything cost more. That's why we had the Depression. So profit says, yeah, I can spend $500 on that card. All of a sudden there's tariffs, and all of a sudden this card costs $600 because I got to pay the tariff. So I'm going to charge them. So what is profit? I can't afford it. I can afford $500, but not $600. Sorry, profit is $500 plus I got to pay these taxes. So I got to charge you $600. I don't have a deal. Profit doesn't get what he wants because the government got involved and started doing fucking tariffs. You're pissing off China, who makes everything because their labor's cheap. And by the way, they have the most gold in the world, which we are not paying attention to. How much gold does the U.S. have? Oh, yeah, 0. What are we thinking? Well, we'll just tariff everybody and we'll make our taxes and pay off the debt that way. Well, what are you talking about? You cannot pay off the debt. You cannot tariff and benefit from it. You're going to cause another depression. As Prophet so adequately pointed out, why the fuck the stock market went up? That's Trump trying to look good. That's Trump printing a bunch of money, putting it in, saying, hey, the economy, look how good it is, we're at 40,000. Because most of America are a bunch of morons who sit there and go, oh, geez, if the stock market's at 40,000, the economy must be doing well. And then you're like, yeah, and Madoff, look at Madoff. He paid everybody back. It must be legit. Even though the SEC was getting paid off, Morgan Stanley was getting paid off, and the Russian mafia was behind Madoff, Only an idiot would go, oh, that's too white. Only an idiot would go, oh, Madoff, it's great. I get 15% on it. And not think it's a scam or a Ponzi. How did in 2000 the stock market crashed, right? But Madoff still was good, and I still got my 15%. And you don't ask questions. How did he do that when it's like now everything's collapsing? How could anybody make money? So it's a bunch of bullshit. The stock market going up, Bitcoin going back up. How it has a value at all is ridiculous. But the interesting part is our gold. Gold is up $100 today. It started a little bit of rundown at 2:00, but then it bounced back. And silver's up $1.22 back to 31. How are they going to cover all the derivatives that they did? So silver went all the way down to 29. And I would imagine China and Russia said, I want delivery of the silver. Now it's back to 31. How the hell are they going to pay the delivery of the silver that went all the way down to 29 when there is no more silver to do it with? Gold went down to 29.70. Not too bad, but it's quickly up to, we're back to 30.91. Oh, wait. Now 30.81. That was an hour ago. So we're up to 30.81. We're up $100. Does that make any sense to anybody? No. That shows you how much this is fixed, because this should never have gone down. So is it margin calling? So now these idiots are back in the stock market and they're all going to do margin calling again? I don't know. Tariffs should never be there. Let's see if I have any more on tariffs. I'll go through my notes and we'll talk about it tomorrow if I can find something else. Oh, I think there's something on Pearl Harbor. Wasn't that a tariff? Let's see. No, there was an embargo on Japan. This caused Japan to go to war. So it was an embargo, oil and steel embargo on Japan, not tariffs. An embargo is we wouldn't let them have the oil that they needed to run their ships. So they go to war because they need oil, basically. Who doesn't? Let's see. So we're, here it is. All right. Let's go here. The Great Depression. Cause of the Depression, businesses stagnation and unemployment, the business cycle boom and bust, stock market crashed, interest rates went up, business declined, profits went down. So interest rates going up is like tariffs. Oh, wait, but look at the big key here. Government price controls. High tariffs, a big problem. Went worldwide. Farming collapsed because we didn't export. Okay, so let's look at what will happen as this was the Depression. High tariffs, big problem. Went worldwide. Farming collapsed because we couldn't export because our prices were over market. Everybody who thinks prices are going up, and I keep saying, fuck, they're not. You can try it. Oh, I took a picture. So I was at the grocery store. I was getting my prescription. So I'm in the pop aisle. Here's 2-liter Cokes. Look at the new price, $3.49, right? For 2-liter Cokes. It was $2.95. But wait. It's buy two for $5. Let's see if I can get that. There, two for $5. Two for $5. These are the cans, two for 10. And then here's something else, a $5.99. Okay, so basically, you raise the price of 2-liter Cokes to $3.49. Nobody's buying them, so therefore you put them on. So instead of lowering your price to $2.50, you don't lower your price. You go, oh, two for $5. So in a sense, you're lowering the price to $2.50, which is my whole thesis on you can't just raise prices because your costs go up, right? How many I use Toyota, I use the barbecue guy with the ribs. This is the point. You cannot make Coke. You cannot just give a price increase and think it's going to go through. What's happening this is Kroger's, $3.49. Everybody says, fuck off. I'm not paying that. So what do? They lower it to two for $5. Okay, you got to buy two, but they're only going to be $2.50 a piece. Basically less than you were selling them for at $2.95. This is why you can't measure inflation this way. This is why you short Coke, because they're raising their prices because their costs are going up. Doesn't work. And this is how it doesn't work. They can't sell it at $3.49. Kroger's pays Coke when they give it in. So now Kroger's is sweating because the Coke at $3.49 isn't selling. But I don't know why it's not $2.50. So they just say, well, it's two for $5. In a sense, $2.50. So there goes your price increase. That doesn't work because the market says, fuck off. And the market says, I'm not paying it. Now they go back to where they think the market will pay, which is $2.50. So you get two of them at $2.50 each. And now they're testing that to see if the pop starts running off the shelf. Anybody buying two liters of Coke is going to be dead soon with all that sugar, especially caffeine and sugar will kill you. But I wanted to show you that. So look at all, this is the whole pop aisle was two for $5. Coke was, Pepsi was, 7-Up, Mountain Dew, everything was two for $5. And here you can see the cans went up 2 for $10. I don't know what the can price is. Obviously, let's see. Oh, okay. The can price is $5.99, right? For I don't know how many cans you get. Six cans maybe. So $5.99, and they're saying, oh, you get two of them for $10. So they lowered their price to $5. So they're taking $1 off because you can't sell it. This is economics. This is how Kroger's. This is the only battle Kroger's can do because they can't sell their pop because it's over market. If you understand your market, you can't price it up here. This is an example. They priced it at $3.45 and there's nobody home. The market's sitting down here and they go, oh, well, it's $2.50 the market, but you got to buy two. Well, who cares? It's pop. You're going to buy a couple. So then it's, yes, they buy two for $2.50. You've found your market at $3.49. There's nobody home. This is the point of the thesis that I try to teach. Just because inflation's there or just because of tariffs doesn't mean there's going to be price increases. They could increase Coke to $3.49, but it won't work. And this is proof that it won't work. If they were selling at $3.49, they wouldn't go and sell it 2 for $5. Why would you? So 2 for $5 shows you they can't sell it. Right? They can't sell it at all, 2 for $5. So that's basically what's happening. So here comes these tariffs, which are high tariffs are a big problem. Government price controls, which is what they're trying to do. And it's a big problem because this is farming collapsed because we couldn't export. So what else are we not going to be able to export? What do we even make that we export? But reverse this to China. China can't sell their goods because their cost is now 100% or 125% of what there's. So if they sell stuff for 800, it's now 880 or 900, which is cutting into their profits. They're not profitable. There's a video I'm going to show you. China's done. Their stock market crashed. Their economy's crashed. You're forcing them to go to gold. You're trying to do protectionism. You want China making, TVs for $100, and then we buy them for $100. You don't want China to make them for 500. Now go buy a TV, and it's going to cost you $500 to buy a TV that was costing you 100 because it came from China. So my advice, if you're looking into a new laptop or a new phone or a new TV, hurry up, because the U.S. doesn't make any of this, so therefore we can't compete. We can't make it. And if you buy a U.S. one, it's going to be $300 instead of the $100 at the Chinese one. Is that what you want? And this is the problem. You raise the prices, you raise the cost, but the market pay $300 for a laptop that they were paying $100 for? No. I mean, I suppose if they really need it, otherwise, I'll hold on to mine. But you're not. But the U.S., even if they were selling them for 100, and now the Chinese cost 300, the U.S. raises their price to 300 because now the competition has gone up. So you're trying to influence the competition. China 100, U.S. 300. China goes to 300 with all these tariffs. The U.S. doesn't go to 100; they stay at 300. And now you're going to buy U.S. because the Chinese is more expensive. Tell me how this helps the economy in any way, because it doesn't. It kills the economy. It kills us because now we got to pay more to get a TV or a cell phone or a laptop or a shirt. Anything we want to buy is going to be more expensive because the reason the U.S. didn't make anything is China's labor prices and their government and all their things were much more conservative, more conservative and cheaper. So instead of paying a union guy $50 an hour to put a screw in a bulb, China does it for $10. So they can charge less, and they get subsidies from their government because they got all the gold, and they were looking to increase the market. So where you think you're killing China, you're forcing them to pull the gold. Hello, brics. Hello, gold. Because their money's worthless. All their things are too expensive in yuan, which is their dollar. Not in gold, though. China comes out with that gold-backed currency and everything. And I'll fuck off, Trump. What are you going to do now? Because it's gold-backed currency, so you can do 100% of monopoly money. I'm gonna tariff this at 100%, and I'm gonna tariff this at 100%. Yeah, but I got gold, and you ain't tariffing my gold. You're fucked. And that's what he's done. He's fucked us. He's for some reason thinking that it's got to be balanced trade. I'm going to go through all my notes, and I bet you $1 million I don't find anything on balanced trade because there's no such animal. It's free trade because you want to take advantage that other countries can do things more efficiently, and therefore it's cheaper, and the consumer benefits. We do. That's the point. You want to buy golf clubs for $200. Now it's going to be $1,000. Now it's not because costs going up, and they're going to try to, but will they be able to? But they won't be able to afford. In other words, so let's say golf clubs are $200, and they come from Mizuno, which is Japan or China, and now the price has gone up because their cost has gone up. But it doesn't mean the market will pay. So we say, no, not interested. What happens? Their price drops to the market. However, if China or Japan cannot make the clubs to sell at that price, they're out of business. How does that help us? Now we can't even find golf clubs, and now there's no competition. So now Callaway marks their golf clubs up $500 more because there's no more competition. So this is becoming a monopolistic country. It means we're all fucked. This is a country of competition. Lowers the price, increases the quality. What you're doing is pricing out everybody. But you want the Americans to make it, which they don't even make it because their cost is too high. So everything we're going to buy, even if we control the market, is going to cost more initially. It'll be like the Coke. Well, we'll raise the price to $3.49. Nobody will buy it, so then we'll go 2 for $5. That's what we'll do with golf clubs and tennis shoes and everything else. We're going to say, fuck off, it's too expensive. And then if they want to make sales, they got to lower their prices. So you're going to see a lot of businesses going out, a lot of unemployment, big, massive depression. Good luck. Buy your gold. Profit. Canada, China have free trade, so it could lead to a lot of cross-border shopping. Were you going to go to China to buy your stuff? So you mean I'm going to drive to Windsor to the Honest Ed's and buy my stuff? Possibly. I remember my cousins live in Toronto, and they would go to Buffalo shopping. You know, they needed a TV, they needed stuff. They would drive to Buffalo, pick it up, and then come back to Toronto where they lived, because everything was much cheaper in Buffalo in the US than it was in Canada. That's how it works. You shop with your money, your card. Yeah, so you think the people from Buffalo are now going to go to Toronto to shop? Maybe. The U.S. is pretty big. What are you going to do if you're in Miami? Fly up, or North Carolina, Ohio? I mean, California. Maybe you'll go up to Vancouver to shop, but I don't know about that. Now, what's Amazon going to do? Amazon being really non anything, right? Are they gonna use the Canadian prices, the Chinese prices, or the U.S. prices? What price do they use to sell Amazon? So will there be cross border, or is there a way to get Canadian prices at Amazon? That's really the key. I heard Chimo went out of business because they got fucked. Anyway, that's what Kroger's is doing. Everything's 2 for $5. This is because the market said, fuck you, I'm not paying $3.49. Now, what's going to happen to our favorite? Cost shouldn't go up. This is really Comac's pricing. He's taking it off of spot. I don't know why he covered the spot up. Doesn't matter. I mean, it's spot plus 110, so spot was obviously 29.12. So this should not have a bearing on that. So it's 30.81. It'll still be 30.81, and we'll still buy it for 110 over. And this will be $2 over. So 31.02 for silver will be 33.02. Tariffs won't affect it. Will it affect the metal? Even if it does, and the silver and gold cost more to make into the coins, really want to have a bearing on it. I can buy older coins. I don't have to buy 2025. This says silver 31.02. It doesn't say U.S. silver, Canadian silver. It also doesn't say what year. An ounce of silver is 31.02. An ounce of gold is 30.81. If it's a Maple Leaf, a Cougaran, a U.S., doesn't matter. So I don't know. I don't know if Victor Davis Hanson knows what he's doing anymore. All right, let's watch a little Egon. He's got a new one out.
Let's look at the actual gold held by the U.S. government. As we know, although every government official goes to Fort Knox and they say, well, the gold is there because that's what they've been told to say. And although everybody talks about there should be an audit, there still hasn't been an audit since Eisenhower's days in 1954. The gold could even be there physically or part of it, but it's not a question of if it's physically there or not. It's also, has it been leased out to bullion banks and therefore to the whole world and borrowed against it, and therefore the actual gold is not owned by the United States. Until we have had a physical audit of the gold, we cannot assume that the gold is there. Personally, I don't think that the US holds anywhere near the amount of 8,000 tons that they say. Let's look at the...
We agree with you, Egon. Here's an Egon I was watching.
I've been expecting this for the last 30 years at least.
I think there was another Egon.
Heavily in the beginning of the 2000s at $300. What we're seeing now is just the beginning, and it's not gold going up at all. It's the collapse of the credit system. It's the debt that's creating this. Gold is just reflecting what's happening to paper money and to the financial system. We're seeing the beginning of it. A lot of people, as you know, believe now we wait for a pullback. It's gone too far. It's not a question of gold going up too far. It's a question of the whole financial system coming down and the value of money coming down. I've been saying that we're not going to see any major pullback for a long time. Gold is going to accelerate here for the simple reason that the financial system is now starting to crumble seriously. And that's what we're going to see. And of course, silver will follow in a big way. People should not think about gold going up, but think about owning gold for wealth preservation, nothing else.
Wealth preservation, and it'll go up. Sorry, Egon, we do think gold, silver's going to go up and gold's going to go up to make us money. I showed you this yesterday. Capitol Airport is empty. So there's no business at the airport. All the stores are closed. There's no customers. There's no markets. Basically, China has no markets. They have sellers, but no buyers. If nobody wants to buy my Canadian club, nobody wants to buy it. There's no market for it. I can't sell it. So I got to go out of business if I got a Canadian club store and I can't, if nobody will buy it, I can't sell it. I got to go out of business because I got all these other costs, right? I got rent and utilities and taxes and everything else that I got to pay. So I'm in a deficit because I can't sell my Canadian club. Now, if I can't sell it because it's $100 a bottle, can I sell it at $75 a bottle and make enough to pay all my expenses? And that's the point. Once you do the tariffs, you make it so they can't stay in business. And that's what Trump's doing. He's basically killing China. And the question is, you do realize they're going to come out with gold because their dollar's worthless. You aren't going to bankrupt a country with 60,000 tons of gold. It's not going to happen. It can happen. So do you realize what you're doing? You're fucking China over. They're going to come out with the gold-backed currency, and you're going to be done. The U.S. dollar is gone because of what you're doing. Do you realize this? I doubt it. Okay, this one is Chinese stocks crash.
Metro Detroit.
Fuck off.
U.S. tariffs crushed China's stock market, with 5,000 stocks falling and 1,000 hitting their limit down, devastating investors and wiping out
This
fortunes.
is today.
China's export industry suffers severe blow. Xi Jinping ready to sacrifice everything for the trade war. From the capital international airport to restaurants, malls, and streets, everything stands deserted. China's strategy of relying on domestic consumption to stimulate the economy has utterly collapsed. Shocking upheaval in the CCP military. Xi Jinping humbles himself to beg for mercy as anti-Xi faction seizes control. Step on board for today's show. Dive into Decoding China, where you'll find all the essential information you need.
We got it. 60,000 tons of gold.
U.S. tariffs crushed China's stock market, with 5,000 stocks falling and 1,000 hitting their limit down, devastating investors and wiping out fortunes. It's over, completely over. There's no way to recover from this. the stock market has crashed.
Now, if I may, why are these people this stupid to be in the stock market knowing these tariffs are coming? Knowing you could get gold into your gold accounts at the bank. Why are you not in gold? And why would you stay in stocks and ignore it? And this is our point when we talk to people all the time. What are you in? I'm in stocks. Are they going to crash? Maybe. Nobody believes you. What is wrong with people? These are fucking idiots, right? So if I show you this, if I show some guy this, Chinese market crashing, you'd think he'd get out of the US stock market. And your only lifeboat's gold and silver. Why are people this stupid? I don't really understand it. You just have logic and just listen and understand what's happening with tariffs, how bad they are, and understanding that you can't lose in gold, physical gold. It's a lock. You cannot lose. They can't do it. They can't inflate it. They can't tariff it. You're fine. What the fuck? It just blows my mind. And then I didn't see it coming. Like, why didn't you see it coming? All right.
Stocks have hit their limit down, and every stock I'm holding has plummeted to its floor. The sky has fallen, and I'm in ruins. Please, no more drops. I can't take it anymore. Right now, it's likely affecting 2,000 companies, all stuck at their limit down. Today, over 3,000 stocks hit their limit down, with only a few dozen managing to stay in the green. I have no more money to invest. This morning, I was already fully invested, everything went in, fully loaded, and then it all crashed to the limit down. The storm of U.S. reciprocal tariffs delivered a massive blow to the Chinese stock market. On April 7, 2025, China's mainland A-share market experienced a Black Monday. According to Free Finance, all three major A-share indices suffered severe declines. The Shanghai Composite Index closed down 7.3%, the Shenzhen Component Index fell 9.7%, the CSI 300 Index dropped 7.1%, the Chinext Index plummeted 12.5%, and the Hang Seng China Enterprises Index crashed 13.7%. Meanwhile, Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index closed down 13.4%. Across the market, 5,360 stocks declined, with over 1,000 individual stocks hitting their daily limit down. Prior to this, People's Daily claimed that China had policy tools to counter U.S. reciprocal tariffs and vowed to support the stock market to bolster investor confidence. However, no sooner had these assurances been made than the three major indices crashed across the board, with the Shanghai Index falling below 3,100 points. Of the 5,360 stocks, over 1,000 hit their daily limit down, marking the largest single-day drop in nearly 5 years. Trading volume in the two markets surged to 1.59 trillion renminbi. Industry sectors such as automobiles, machinery, home appliances, non-ferrous metals, and petroleum led the declines, reflecting deeply pessimistic market sentiment and widespread panic. Chinese investors flooded the internet with cries of despair. One netizen lamented, "A historic limit-down catastrophe. Stock investors are losing everything." On April 2nd, President Trump announced a 34% reciprocal tariff on Chinese goods, which, combined with the existing 20% tariff, raised the effective tariff rate to 54%. The following day...
So at that point, why wouldn't you pull your money out of stocks? Now, the other factor that really isn't being said, 5,000 companies lost. How many of those were U.S. companies? I know Ford and GM are there. I used to work at Ford. I know they have a lot of business in that. Now, their stocks are in here, not in China, but this has got to affect all U.S. companies, Nike and everybody who does business in China. It's got to affect. It can't it won't count for the U.S. companies that are there. So this is a big problem, obviously. So what comes around goes around. Who do you think buys stuff? The people with money in China are buyers. We are buyers. So on Amazon, we go and we buy. What do you think the Chinese people do? They go on Amazon and buy U.S. goods if we have anything. This is the same way. And so they don't have any money to buy anything. That's going to kill sales, which is going to kill companies. and it's going to kill your stock market. So why is everybody buying stocks today thinking this is a good thing? What idiot is who's behind this? Jamie Dimon or Larry Fink? Oh no, it's a good time to buy the dips, buy the dips. Not this dip. Believe me, if I thought it was good to be in the stock market, I would highly recommend going in the stock market. It is not good to go in the stock market. The only good is to go in gold and silver because there's no you can't inflate it. There's no printing of it. Just like this card. They made 250 of this card, the Messier. That's all they can make, 250. That's it. No more. They can't print. So I don't really, this is bad news because these are customers for our stuff. Just like if somebody in China was going to buy Teaserking football, they're my customer. Look at Pat. Pat is from Singapore. He could buy from me and I could buy from him. But if you're going to kill him in that, now they lose all their money. Guess what? They don't buy from me because they don't have money to buy from me. They don't go on Amazon and buy. So I would short Amazon. Apple had that Farcom company or whatever, which was all Apple, and they're all losing money and they're all laying off. You want to keep Apple stock? Be my guest. All right, this one's a good one now. This is I don't know what ASML and TSMC, I think they're chip makers in Amsterdam.
They don't make them like they used to. But for 40 years we did. Our handcrafted leather shoes.
China has just ignited a geopolitical earthquake by burning its final bridge to the West's semiconductor elite. No more ASML, no more TSMC. This isn't a temporary pause, a polite warning, or a strategic maneuver. It's a full-on rupture, a calculated severance that could reshape global tech dominance forever. While Washington continues to revel in its export bans and trade restrictions, Beijing has quietly made a bold move that could completely disrupt the entire semiconductor landscape. And if that happens, your phone, your car, and even your future could soon be at the mercy of Chinese microchips. But why would China destroy the very companies it once relied on? Why take such a drastic step? What's lurking behind the door they just slammed shut, leaving the world in shock? Stay with us because what happens next isn't just about chips.
I can't wait.
It's about power, and the way it's about to shift in ways no one imagined. The storm that's forming now could leave the world's most advanced industries scrambling for control, and the fallout could be catastrophic. On January 18, 2025, Beijing dropped a bombshell. It halted all future purchases and technical cooperation with ASML and TSMC. This shocking move came just 72 hours after the Dutch government revoked ASML's license for DUV, deep ultraviolet lithography machine exports to China, under intense U.S. pressure. Make no mistake, this wasn't just a diplomatic spat. It was a tectonic shift in the global tech landscape. To understand the scale of this rupture, consider this. China imported a staggering $2.6 billion worth of lithography systems from ASML in 2023 alone. And yet, when the Netherlands, acting under Washington's influence, decided to revoke the service support for previously delivered ASML machines, effectively bricking $15 billion worth of critical infrastructure, Beijing decided it was time to make an irreversible decision. Reliance on foreign suppliers was no longer just a risk. It had become an existential threat. China had been pushed to the brink, and now it was responding with a massive shift that would change the semiconductor game forever. Dan Wang, a tech strategist at Gavakol Dragonomics, points out that this move was years in the making. It wasn't sudden. China had been planning for this moment, carefully waiting for the West to overplay its hand, until Western supply chains became more of a threat than a benefit. Cutting off ASML and TSMC isn't just burning bridges. It's forcing China to take control of its own destiny, and fast. A complete break from Western technology wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a calculated gambit to build its own power. The 2022 U.S. sanctions were originally designed to paralyze China's semiconductor ambitions by denying China access to the most advanced chip-making tools, AI accelerators, and foreign talent. But instead of stalling progress, the sanctions sparked an unprecedented investment spree. Between 2022 and 2024, China funneled over $75 billion into its domestic semiconductor industry through state-backed funds. Imports of semiconductor manufacturing equipment surged by nearly 34% year over year in 2024, even as export bans tightened. The goal was never just to reach self-sufficiency, but to rapidly insulate China from external pressures. As Paul Riolo, head of tech policy at Albright Stonebridge Group, puts it, sanctions didn't slow down China, they sped up its timeline. What was supposed to be a decade-long journey toward semiconductor autonomy was compressed into a desperate 3-year sprint. But China didn't just throw money at the problem. It invested heavily in human capital too. Over 50,000 engineers were recruited into China's chip ecosystem, many from industry giants like Huawei and Singa Uni Group Labs. As a result, China's once fragmented chip sector is now a rapidly adapting powerhouse that's closing the technology gap faster than anyone predicted. They're not just catching up, they're pushing forward with startling velocity. China's race to build its own chip-making infrastructure is a massive challenge, one that requires overcoming technological hurdles thought to be insurmountable. And yet Beijing is finding a way to navigate these obstacles. Consider the issue of ASML's EUV, extreme ultraviolet machines, critical to making cutting-edge chips smaller and more powerful. These machines cost up to $200 million and use light at a wavelength of just 13.5 nanometers to etch microscopic circuits on silicon wafers. These machines were once the gold standard of the semiconductor industry, and China was explicitly blocked from acquiring them. But instead of waiting for access, China is doing something no one expected, skipping over EUV entirely. In March 2025, Shenzhen-based Secarier claimed its new lithography tools could support sub-7 nanometer chip manufacturing, using a proprietary DUV-based process. Though independent validation is still underway, the implications of this breakthrough are enormous. In the meantime, Huawei's Mate 60 Pro, a product of China's innovation and ambition, shocked the tech world by featuring a 7-nanometer chip made entirely with pre-band tools. This chip was produced using a DUV process that, until now, was thought to be incapable of scaling down to such tiny nodes. The Mate 60 Pro was more than just another smartphone. It was a symbol of China's defiance and determination to break free of Western control. But that's just the beginning.
We'll get back to that in a minute. It's 9 minutes long. We're done with 5. You just tariff these guys who have this capability. You don't think they're going to use it? So our phones, our laptops, our cars, which use chips, what we've done is, this is mostly Ford, they said, oh, it's cheaper to get labor in China. It's cheaper everywhere in China because China's not a developed country, so therefore all their people don't make any money. They're all out on rice paddies. We can pay them $5 a day and they'll be happy, which they were in the beginning until they realized that their value's more, and the engineers started making $100,000, and there goes your labor. And there's heavy pollution there and everything else, and that's why they rose, because they didn't have skill sets. So we're kind of teaching them, Ford and GM and everybody else, putting plants in China, and Nike having child labor in China. So it becomes, now you're doing these tariffs when the whole idea is incredibly stupid, Keynesian, and now you're losing out on this technology that they're doing. So instead of buying it, it would be a lot cheaper, I'm sure. You now put 125% tariffs on them. Do you realize what you've just done? There's no way in hell you're getting these. These are the latest and greatest in technologies, and who knows what else you're not going to be getting, because they won't trade with you. They do trade. They're doing this new thing where they're going to trade with Japan and I believe Hong Kong or Korea. So they'll have the whole like Far East trading with each other, and they'll tell the U.S., you know what, your dollar's not worth anything anyway, so we don't want to trade with you. I don't think it's really hurting the whole Far East to trade with us, because our money's worthless anyway. And with these sanctions and the extra cost, they can trade with Japan cheaper. They can trade with Hong Kong and Korea cheaper. Why do they need to trade with the U.S.? So what you're doing is making the Coca-Cola $5 a bottle, and Kroger's is saying, yeah, we can't sell it for that. We're going to be 2 for $5. And you're sitting at $5 saying, I'm going to charge $5. And nobody's going to buy it. So what you've done is, please explain what goods we actually sell to anybody, because I don't think we sell anything, because we don't have oil, we don't have electricity, we don't have steel. lumber's Canadian. We don't have anything that we actually sell except for Larry Fink and the stock market. And the thing we sold is the dollar and the stocks. So all these billionaires from China and Japan, Germany and the UK, what did they do? They put their money in our stock market and our banks and bought our houses. This is what we sell to the world, is our government bonds to pay for our debt, because we can't control our spending. So the T-bills, well, I know China and Japan have been selling them as fast as they can and buying gold. But that's what's going to happen with the stock market. Everybody who has it is going to get out of the U.S. dollar. That is the only thing that we sold to anybody, was money. Worthless money. Heavily inflated money. This is what our gift to the world is. We don't sell them any products, any goods and services. Like I said, Nike has it made in China, and I'm sure golf clubs and TVs and phones and everything else are made somewhere else. Our cars, nobody wants a GM or a Ford. I don't even want a GM or a Ford. I mean, that's what you have. So it's really, this is really, really bad for everybody's economy, this tariff stuff. Trump sees it, I get the $37 trillion to get rid of the IRS and get rid of income tax and to pay off the debt. That's what Trump's saying. But he doesn't see is the reciprocal. And if you so Trump's like, I'll sell Coke for $3.50 a bottle. What he doesn't see is you can't sell it at $3.50 and it's going to be 2 for $5. This is what Trump's not saying. He just sees, well, if we charge $3.50 for Coke, look how much money we get, because he's timesing it by quantity. So he's saying, well, quantity times price. Well, the price goes up to $3.54. The quantity will go. So if I'm selling 100 bottles at $3 and I make this $3.50, look at all the extra money, because we'll still sell the 100 bottles. No, you won't. You won't still sell the 100 bottles. You'll sell 50 bottles, and you'll actually lose money with the price increase. I don't know what he's doing. All right. I got master's in corporate finance and Austrian economics. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I don't see any benefit. There is no benefit. I'm showing you my notes, where the last thing you want to do is not have free trade. The most important thing you could have is free trade, and you don't want it. You're throwing it out for what the fuck are you doing? So you can pay off the debt? You can't. Again, quantity goes down. So when you raise price, less people buy, because people aren't stupid. That's why all the Cokes are 2 for $5 at Kroger's, because nobody has an interest in paying $3.50. At $2.50, they'll buy. Maybe. And then you want to measure inflation. Well, if it went from $3 to, is inflation $3.54 or is it $2.50? You tell me what the inflation price is. But we know you don't measure inflation with prices. You measure it with money supply. Do I have to fix everything around here? So I don't know. We'll watch the last few minutes of this. It's only a couple more minutes. I really don't. I know it's chips, right? And we know they're in phones and cars and computers. I get that part of it. I'm not sure I get the whole legit. I've never heard of these companies. But what the fuck? It's China. Let's have some fun.
In December 2024, reports surfaced that SMIC, China's leading semiconductor foundry, was already experimenting with 5 nanometer chips and even pushing towards the 3 nanometer barrier, using quad patterning and proprietary AI-assisted yield tuning techniques. While the technology is still in its infancy, the fact that China is even attempting to make such a leap with its own resources speaks volumes about its growing capabilities. What China is doing now is no longer just about survival. It's about something far deeper: sovereignty. For China, every chip, every piece of technology it builds is a step toward independence, away from the West's chokehold. It's not just about creating a chip industry, it's about creating an ecosystem of power. economic, military, and technological. By cutting off ASML and TSMC, Beijing is calculating that the short-term costs of isolation will be dwarfed by the long-term benefits of control. In 2023, over 85% of China's high-performance chips were imported. By late 2024, that figure had dropped below 60%. The message to domestic firms is crystal clear: no more crutches. If China's semiconductor giants want to thrive, they'll have to innovate on their own. This move also removes critical vulnerabilities. No more dependence on Western repair services or software. And with a booming domestic market, China's chip companies will be free to forge their own path without fear of geopolitical maneuvering. The bigger picture? By freezing out TSMC and ASML, China is betting that the world will eventually need to play by its rules. It's a high-stakes gamble, but it's one that Beijing is willing to make. If this were a poker game, China just made a daring play, calling the West's bluff with a straight flush made from discarded scraps. In 2020, China couldn't produce a 14-nanometer chip without importing core IP from the West. Fast forward to the first quarter of 2025, and China is producing over 2.3 million 7-nanometer chips, with some of the most advanced foundries in the world using old repurposed technology. This isn't just a matter of surviving. This is strategy. SMIC's market share jumped from 5% in 2020 to 19.3% in 2024. This marks the beginning of something far more significant, a recalibration of global semiconductor power. As China builds its own vertically integrated chip ecosystem, the reverberations are being felt around the globe. Companies like ASML are already seeing their revenues from China shrink by 27% year-on-year in the fourth quarter of 2024. And this shift is just the beginning. As China's tech ecosystem gains momentum, global suppliers are starting to feel the ripple effects. This isn't just a supply chain shift. It's a full-scale reprogramming of the tech economy. But the tech war doesn't end in semiconductor fabs. Behind the scenes, Beijing is quietly ramping up a much broader strategy that could destabilize everything. China has begun offloading U.S. tech-linked assets and sovereign bond holdings in strategically timed batches. It's a calculated move designed to reshape the global financial landscape. What happens when the battle over chips shifts to financial markets? If Beijing succeeds in weaponizing capital, the impact won't just be felt in tech stocks. It could trigger a chain reaction across global markets, including Wall Street. The next casualty? It could be retirement funds, mortgage rates, or even the next global recession. So ask yourself, what happens when this stops being a tech war and starts becoming a battle for capital? When the focus shifts from silicon to money? The storm isn't just coming, it's already on the horizon. Hold on tight. We're not just witnessing the evolution of technology, we're witnessing the realignment of global power. By late 2024, China had filed over 21,000 semiconductor patents, a 34% increase year over year. This isn't just about volume, it's about control. It's about China taking the reins of its own destiny and saying, we don't need you.
Now, is that why we're doing tariffs? Are we trying to cut off China? Are we trying to bankrupt China? What's really going on here? There's something deeper that we're not seeing per se. I played this Stoic piece a couple days ago, but I want to play it again.
I'm probably the only person online who shares every single one of my trades completely for free. I live
Five things you should never receive from anyone. There are 5 poisons
This
we
is a
must
very
never
good
accept
video,
into our
so.
soul. They are silent, invisible, yet they rot our strength, blur our clarity, and tear us away from the path of true power. 1. Praise. Yes, even praise. Do not be deceived. What looks like gold can be rust in disguise. The man addicted to praise becomes a slave to applause. He lives not from inner truth, but from outer approval. Seneca warned, what you think of yourself is much more important than what others think of you. When we begin to crave validation, we abandon our self-governance. Every word of praise becomes a chain, because now we need more. We need it louder. We need it again. But the one who moves in silence, who builds in the dark, who does what is right without needing to be seen, he is untouchable. He is free. 2nd, permission. The weak wait for permission to begin, to speak, to act, to live. But the strong know there is no gatekeeper except themselves. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize."
So when I fight about tariffs being Keynesian and they're not good and they don't work, and I get feedback and I get pushback, this is what this is saying. No, I'm right. I know I'm right. I just told you, I showed you I was right. That's where I'm getting it from. And so this is what you have to do when you're telling your family and friends about gold or about tariffs or anything else you learn here. You've got to stay strong on it. And you can't be like misled or taken out by your friends and family that it's not the right thing to do. You know it is. And that's really the key to it. So keep that in mind when you're doing it, that we're doing the right thing. Like you got to be careful of like somebody praises you, don't let it get to your head. And then there's other validations like you need to be liked. That's why I never ask you to like me on put your likes in. I'm glad you do, but I don't force you to like me. If you want to, if you like the video and you like the topic or you like something, then say you like it and you should. But I don't look at that as validation. So I see the 3 likes, but I'm not doing the video to get the likes. And I never tell you to like me, but I do want you to like it and enjoy it and get something out of it. But if I were to get no likes, I would still do the video because I'm not doing the video going, oh, I should say something to get liked. I don't do that because then you're gonna get pissed if you don't get liked. That's the key to it, right? Get the likes, and then you go from there. But by you watching, I know you obviously like it, or you wouldn't be watching it. But I do it because it's an important message, especially football and cold and everything. Prophet, slam that like button, everyone. Well, thank you very much, Prophet. Yeah, I mean that's what it's about. But you don't want to do it for the likes, and if you don't get the likes, get all depressed. You do it because it's the right thing to do, and you stay stoic at it. All right.
And you will find strength. Waiting for someone to grant us worth is like asking the storm to calm before we walk. It will not. We must walk anyway. You were not born to beg for acceptance. You were not made to knock and wait at someone else's door. You were made to become a fortress of self-command, not arrogance, but unshakable self-trust, not rebellion, but quiet sovereignty. We must learn to say, I do not need you to tell me I am ready. I do not need you to agree with my fire. I only need to keep walking. 3. Never receive pity. Pity is not compassion. It is condescension disguised as care. When someone pities you, they do not see your strength. They see your weakness. And worse, they speak to it. They confirm your lowest fears about yourself. But we are not to be seen as broken, even when we bleed. The Stoics taught that dignity must be upheld, especially in hardship. Epictetus said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." When you receive pity, you're tempted to adopt the opinion that you are small, helpless, less. Do not accept it. Your trials are not curses, they are chisels. Let them carve you. Let them forge you. But never let them make you someone who needs pity to survive. We are not victims of life. We are its students. And students of pain become masters of power if they never kneel to pity. 4. Never receive validation as a necessity. There is a difference between appreciating recognition and depending on it. When we build ourselves on praise, we become slaves to the applause. The moment it fades, we wither. But the Stoic does not bloom only in the light of others' approval. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, ambition means tying your well-being to what other people say or do. Sanity means tying it to your own actions. Validation is a shadow. It moves with the sun and disappears when you need it most. So we must not crave it. We must not build our self-worth on borrowed words. When we act with virtue, discipline, and reason, when our compass is internal, then no one can grant us worth, because no one can take away. We walk not to be seen, but because we have somewhere to go. 5. Never receive fear as a gift. There are those who offer fear through threats, manipulation, silence, or chaos. They wrap it in sharp glances or poisoned words, but we do not accept it. We do not wear fear like a chain. Seneca once wrote, "He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a man who is alive." And we might add, he who accepts fear from another will never live as one who is free. Fear, when received, becomes a leash. It keeps us small, reactive, compliant. But fear, when observed and understood, becomes power. We do not run from it. We burn it into fuel. So when they try to give us fear, we answer with stillness, with reason, with an inner calm that cannot be invaded, because the one who owns himself cannot be owned by anyone. And so we walk forward, not louder, not faster, but deeper, with calm minds sharpened by discipline, with hearts untouched by the chaos around us, because true power is not in how many follow us, but in how little can move us. And subscribe for more wisdom to guide your journey.
You can join my free.
You gotta love Epictetus. All right. See, I kind of like, here's Mark McGuire. Look at the picture. It's like 10 years old. Silver holders will become millionaires. What is that? I never say that. I think it'll go up. I think we'll be fine because we won't get, it's that we won't lose millions in our dollars. So you got 100,000 in the bank. Holding silver means you don't lose the 100,000 in your monopoly money. That's why you buy silver, so you don't lose the 100,000. That's what Egon keeps saying to us. Yes, I agree. We will make money because the silver price will go up, and then it'll have to be adjusted when the dollar goes out to whatever gold and silver is worth. And my other thing is, I don't know what gold and silver price will be at, because right now it is priced in dollars. So if we look at it, okay, it's 30.74. The Chinese aren't doing their jobs. Get it up. And silver at 31.01. These are priced in dollars. So what is silver's real price? We don't know. We see it 31.01 in US dollars, and we see gold at 30.74 in US dollars. But when the dollar goes out and it's all monopoly money, what is the real price of gold and silver? And that's where it'll be priced. So I was in the sauna, and the guy asked me, well, how are you gonna sell your money? You're gonna get fiat money for it. And I go, you missed the point. Gold and silver will be the money. I won't have to sell it to any fiat. And it blew the guy away because the guy thought he was so smart. And I'm just saying, look, you don't sell the gold for the dollars. The gold is the dollars. And, there'll have to be some adjustments made, like flying to Hawaii. It's a couple thousand US dollars, but once gold takes over and it's gold backed currency, maybe not here, but everywhere in BRICS, it's got to be a hell of a lot cheaper. You might need 100 gold backed currencies or 50 gold backed currencies to go to Hawaii. So everything will get replayed into it. So again, that's why sometimes I say, well, gold's 3,074 monopoly money. So that's what Alligator keeps saying, that shows you the dollar's gone down some more in gold. But then my argument is, well, what happened the last 2 days? The dollar didn't get better in value. How could it? You printed it to death. So the dollars keeps going down. Why did gold go down? And that's the point. He can't handle it because that's that shoots his theory down. So really, it's not that gold's worth 30.78. Oh, we're having a nice 5 minutes. It was 30.70, 30.78. Let's get the 31. Let's get the 3100, boys. See, now it's China's time, so it should go up because there's no U.S. to interfere with it. And China's got to be plenty pissed off. Baseball. Let's see. So I gave baseball picks earlier. And I believe the Yankees beat Detroit. It was 4-0 with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. And 4-3. Can you believe this? What happened at the end? They scored 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth. Spencer Torkelson scores on a wild pitch to make it 4-1. And then a single to center, Sweeney and Baez scored, make it 4-3. Why is it so difficult for the teams against Detroit to come in the ninth inning and throw and strike them out? There was 2 outs. Spencer Torkelson goes to 12 pitch and walks. How do you walk the guy? He hits like 200. Unbelievable. So they win 4-3. I don't remember. I think I was under 7.5 or something. Here's the Yankee lineup. Rice hitting 306. Judge 354. No homers today. Cody Bellinger 206. Goldsmith 383. 2 hits today. Chisholm 180. Volpe 234. Dominguez 205. Grissom 367. Esquera the catcher 125. Another catcher Wells 189 and Cabrera 308. Then you get to the Tigers. Malloy 231. Ibanez 136. This Carpenter guy 216. Ricky Green 286. Torkelson 311. He'll be 200 soon. Dingler 346. He'll be 200 soon. Cash Keith 171. Happy Baez is hitting 321. Yeah, that'll be 200 soon. Kreidler 120. He's a minor leaguer. Sweeney 235 and McKinstry is 371. So why would you pitch to McKinstry with Malloy's a 230 hitter coming up? Unbelievable. Anyway, so let's see. Max Fried. Here's my problem with managers. Max Fried, 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 0 runs, 11 strikeouts, a 1.56 average. Why are you taking him out? Then you bring in this Weaver, who is a 0.00. You pitch him in the 8th. Then in the 9th, you bring in your stud, who gives up 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and has a 12 ERA. Why would you bring him in to pitch the bottom of the 9th inning? Then Mark Leader comes in and in 1 pitch gets out of the jam. Why, if this D. Williams, and all they say on the radio is how good he is, and he gives up 2 hits and 2 walks, and in the bottom of the 9th, the 4-0 lead. Oh, and Williams pitched 33 pitches and only 18 strikes. Leader, 2 pitches, 1 strike. Why didn't you just bring in Leader? So what was the totals in this game? We went under earlier. Total runs 7.5. So I got the win, but why was it even close? It was 4-0. It's 4-0 going into the bottom of the 9th, and I end up 4-3. Jesus Christ. All right. The Tigers seem to score 7 runs every game. All right, so let's see what's going on. We had a big 5-star going. It was Houston and Seattle under, and it's 4-0 Houston at the end of 7. So we are in really good shape in that game. The Dodgers 6-5 over Washington, Cincinnati and the Niners 6-6. White Sox, Cleveland just started. Pittsburgh beat St. Louis 2-1. So we bet Scanes yesterday. He loses. Pittsburgh 2-1 today. Miami and the Mets, we went under 10, and it was 5-0. What a great play by the professor. You had Max Meyer's a 2.0 ERA. Tyler Miguel is a 6.63 ERA. The over-under was 10. 5-0 Miami. How easy was that? Oh, my God. I wish all my bets were that easy. Yankees under 7.5. So winner. Texas and the Cubbies 6-2. I don't remember what I did. And San Diego and Oakland 2-1. I believe I went under 9 in this game. And let's check the pitching. It's 2-1. San Diego wins, and I believe I was under. I mean, we can easily check because it's obviously by the pitchers' ERAs. So Vasquez with the 1.72 ERA, and Bido with the 3. So we went under. The over was 10. Yeah, 10 with a. You have a 10 ERA game with a 3.0 pitcher and a 1.72 pitcher, and the over-under is 10. I don't know if I locked this at 5 stars also. I'd have to listen to this morning's video, but they're all on this morning's video. Unbelievable, easy. This is so easy. Arizona 9-0 over Baltimore. Fad against Keene. I might have went over, but that would have been good. 9 there. Now let's go coming up. 6:45. So you got 15 minutes. Toronto, Boston. We went over here as Tanner Houck is a 6.52 and Grossman is a 1.97 ERA. So we went over 8.5. 7:05. The Rams against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In Tampa, UC Kikuchi 4.50 ERA. Ryan Peapot 2.45. I don't know if we made up our mind. It's either over 8 or we went with Peapot. Philly, Atlanta, big game. We went Philadelphia. Atlanta's a 150 favorite and an over-under of 9. And I got T.Juan Walker 1-0 with a 0 ERA and Grant Holmes with the 7.20. So we went Philadelphia there. Minnesota, KC, we went over 7.5 as we got Joe Ryan a 4.50 and Seth Lugo a 3.27. I believe we might have went KC, but I think we went over. In Milwaukee, Colorado, over under 10.5. Milwaukee 140. Tyler Alexander 1-0 with a 2 ERA. Antonio Sanzata 0-1 with an 0-0. I had to go over 10.5 when I got a 2.0 pitcher on the mound. Forget the 0-0. Yeah, normally this is an over because it's Colorado. I think we took Milwaukee. Again, you can listen. It was on pretty much in the beginning of the video. Let's see. I'm getting more scams than I don't even know what to do with. So that was baseball. And let's see if there's any football news. And we're done with college basketball, so no more of that. Why Deion Sanders thinks Travis Hunter can excel at 2 positions in the NFL. Why not? Well, Sanders couldn't do it. He played cornerback. He couldn't play wide receiver. What a bunch of bullshit. NFL draft big board. Travis Hunter is number 1. Number 1 what? You got to be kidding me. Let's see. I would not think that this McMillan guy, the receiver from Arizona, is the best receiver. You got to be kidding me. Well, he must have won a fast time at the pro day or whatever crap that is. Steelers bring Prime Jr. for a visit with Aaron Rodgers still waiting. NFL team owners at odds over player participation in the Olympics. I would say absolutely not. They're under contract, and these are Summer Olympics, or is it Winter Olympics like Herschel Walker in the bobsled? Anything worth mentioning? The bullshit they put on here is terrible. Well, if Deion Sanders says Travis Hunter can start both ways, he's full of shit. Of course, what do you expect him to say? Justin Fields on Jets drafting a quarterback. He's willing to teach, but what are you going to teach him, Fields? How to get booed? How to throw incomplete passes? Touch football. I don't know. What's touch football? Prime Jr. or Justin Fields? Flag football? Oh, the Olympic game. Yeah, that would be flag football, I guess. What the hell are you doing with flag football? This is tackle football. People like to see contact and getting hit and nice catches and nice runs and nice tackles. You're taking it all out of the game and making it, man, we can't have kickoffs. Somebody might get hurt. But we'll play Thursday. We'll play Sunday and then Thursday. I don't think anybody will get hurt on 3 days rest after getting, as Barry Sanders put it, in a car accident every day. Yeah, like the Pro Bowl. Yeah, that's not Olympics. The Olympics is like flag football. But who gives a shit? If that's your Pro Bowl, what is that? Used to be good Pro Bowls. The All-Star, the baseball All-Star games. Everybody tried, and now nobody gives a shit. They're making too much money, so they don't really care, and they want to protect themselves, because when you start making $5 million, you don't want to get hit. When you're making $30,000, you want to keep your job. Now they don't care. So I made $10 million. I don't care if I keep my job. And it shows. None of them care. Baseball salaries, they're going to start getting the crunch. Where do they buy the baseball bats? I know there's Louisville, Kentucky, but are they coming from China? These new torpedo bats? The spikes are got to be coming from China. The mitts have got to be coming from China. So how is baseball going to buy all the mitts and all the bats and all the gloves and the baseballs are guaranteed coming from China? Everything's coming from China because it's cheaper. You are killing what was the benefit of going to China. You've just killed it with the tariffs because you want the U.S. to make everything. Why? Protectionism does not work. You want free trade because if China can make it better and cheaper, then let's buy from them. That's the whole point. That's how these countries were number one. France had ships. England, an island, obviously had ships. Amsterdam had ships with the whole Rotterdam and everything. The only ones who really didn't have ships were Rome, and they had a lot of ships also because they were, if you've ever been to Italy, you're right on the Mediterranean, the whole fucking coast. Most of the powers back then were because of ships. So now you're taking that whole advantage away. And these tariffs, who thinks they're a good idea? And Trump sits there and blows smoke up his own ass saying how good they are. For whom? There's no winner in these tariffs, right? You kill the consumers because everything's going up it's going up in cost, not necessarily price. They're going to do what Coke did. They're going to raise the price and then go, well, but we'll put it on sale too for $5. So really, the price went down to $2.50 because they couldn't sell it at $2.95. But you got to buy two of them. Well, it's Coke. Everybody buys. It's all addicting. They put stuff in there to make you addicted. I'm going to go through my notes tonight and look at what else I can find on tariffs, and I will present that tomorrow. Got your baseball, gold. Take one last. Well, we saw it at 30.78. Moving. China's got the ball now. Look for 3,100 overnight. I would assume when we wake up, it'll be back at 31.20. And there's a lot of problems with everybody that shorted it down to 29.80. It's going to get their ass kicked when they gotta deliver the gold to China and England and China and Russia. You're gonna make China go to the gold standard. That's not what you want. You're bankrupting them into gold, and you don't have any. You lose. The big picture is the U.S. has no gold and loses. Because what are they dealing in? Oh, I want more of that. It's monopoly money. So the tariffs are meaningless, right? 120% of this. I'm getting this. This is worthless. So you're doing all these tariffs to get toilet paper, monopoly money in. Where's the benefit of that? So I don't know. I just sit there and the problem is I know. Most people don't have a clue. Oh, what's a tariff, Henry? Nobody knows. I know what it is. I know it's bad. I know he's just fucked himself more than China because China doesn't. What's the incentive of selling to the U.S. and getting this shit? What is the incentive? I don't want to trade. I don't want that. As soon as I get it on Teaserking, I go and buy gold and silver with it. If I make money at poker, I go buy gold and silver with it. I don't want the crap. This is the problem. So anyway, I think that's about it. At the end of the day, this is the most important thing. You buy real assets that are in really good condition. That's the key to everything. This will not lose value. It might lose a little bit in dollar value now because there might not be people wanting to buy these because they don't have money for it. But just wait for the gold to come out, and then these will really go to the moon because then people with the gold will want and they'll pay. That's what I'm saying. Like you're going to buy your house, right? When you go buy your house, you're going to be paying with gold. Couple ounces of gold, you get a nice house because the people in the house don't have money because they've listened to their broker and they're in stocks. Gold will be the only thing, and then their values are going down because nobody is wanting to buy a house because it's too expensive. So the house prices go down. So here's the house price. Oh, I always do it this way. Here's the house price, 500,000. Here's the market at 150,000. Oh, I can't sell it. Okay, we'll lower the price to 400. Oh, I can't sell it because there's nobody home. Until you get down to here because of these interest rates at 8 or 9% on that, on the houses, right? You want to buy a 30-year fixed, it's 8, 9, 10%. That jacks up your monthly mortgage. I can't afford 500,000 plus the 8 or 9% of my mortgage. So when it gets down to about 2, and then we add the mortgage, then I can afford it. So that's why there's no housing market. Who can everything's up here. You made the ribs $45 and we're all down here at 30. Nobody's up here buying it. That's what you've done. And so with that, that's what you've done with tariffs. We're down here. You're jacking up the cost, not the price. You're jacking the cost up to here because it's a tax. So if I sell you a video game, I sell you telephones at $1,000. Now I got to add a tariff of another 100%, so it's $2,000. So I got to sell it to you. You know, it's now my cost is now 2,000. This is China. Okay, now they sell it to Motorola or Panasonic or whoever they want to sell it to here. Doesn't mean that they can then they're going to have to pay more, or they're going to say we don't want it. We'll look for an alternative to sell it to us. So the advantage that China has of being less expensive than everybody else is gone now. So you fucked that all up because you were taking advantage of China's cheap labor. Now, India and Vietnam are supposed to replace it. But India and I believe Vietnam are both in BRICS now. So now what are you going to do? Where are you going to go for cheap labor? Africa? You've gutted that place. They hate you. India, well, they're on BRICS. They must hate you. China, you've just fucked that up. Where are you going to go for cheap labor? Oh, you'll have to pay more. You killed your own economy. You killed your money. You've killed the country. It's all bankrupt. What is this moron doing? Oh, my God. So anyway, that's what we got to look forward to. So the more gold and silver you buy, the easier it is for us to move to a different country where they actually have gold, one of the BRICS countries. And that's it. So have a nice day. I'll be on tomorrow. I'll be on normal time. I had an appointment today, which I don't have tomorrow. Income tax day is next Monday, I believe, for Tuesday the 15th. And you know, you can, let's say you owe $2,000 on your taxes, you can pay $1,000, and then they will send you a bill, and you can settle it. Like, so you have an extra month or two. Like, in other words, you owe it April 15th, so you do your tax return, you owe $2,000. So with the $2,000, you put $1,000 with the return now. The other $1,000 you can then pay by May 15th, and there's no penalty and interest because it hasn't, you've already paid it off. So you do have that option, which you don't know about, which I just told you about. So it's okay. If you owe a lot, you can get on a payment plan. Say, I don't have it. I'm on Social Security. I'm not working, whatever. I've been laid off by these tariffs, and I can pay you $200 a month, and you pay them $200 a month. So there are ways around it, and that's what you do. And you do the same with credit cards. If you really have high debt, you just call up the bank, say, look, I really want to pay it off. I lost my job. I'm on, the tariffs. Just blame everything on the tariffs and say, can you give me like no interest? They can do this. You can say, can I have like no interest for 6 months? I do want to pay it off, but the interest is killing me, but I'm not working. And they'll work with you. They will cut the interest for like 6 months, maybe even a year now, and then allow you to pay without the interest, or look for 0%. I do that a lot, where I move my 10 grand from here at 20% to 0% at normally Wells Fargo. I've done that a few times. So I have a payment with no interest for about 15 months. And then as it starts coming back, then I switch it to somewhere else. And I just kind of rotate around. So anyway, I think that's about it. So again, tariffs are bad. Free trade is good. Free trade is what you want. Monopolies, tariffs, and unions are bad. They're all Keynesian. These are the problems with the country. Tariffs are not good in any shape or way, and Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act caused the Great Depression. Victor Davis Hanson is out of depth there. He has no idea what he's talking about. It raised the prices, and the farmers went out because they couldn't sell their crop. It was too expensive. So keep that in mind. Because what ends up happening is the other countries tariff you back. So if you want to charge us 10%, we'll charge you 10%. Made the corn and the wheat too expensive. They couldn't sell. They couldn't pay the bank back. One domino after another fell. So that's about it. So understand that. And I'll see you tomorrow. Again, buy as much gold and silver as you can eat. Just buy it, physical gold and silver. That's about it. So enjoy your night and take care. Anyway, these tariffs are bad news. Just understand that. And Trump, oh, it's the golden age and prosperity, and the guy's out of his fucking mind. He has no idea what he's doing, and he's killing it. He's probably listening to that George Soros guy who is trying to bankrupt the country. And the question I keep coming up with is why? Why are we bankrupting our own country? What good could it possibly do us? Yes, it will get us out of our debt, and nobody will never be able to borrow money from anybody ever again because we can't pay it back. So anyway, that's what's going on. So have a good night, everybody. Enjoy baseball or hockey or whatever you're watching tonight. All right. Take care, everybody.